Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled, Can I Use a Hand Sanitizer on Shabbat? So this past Shabbat, many shuls around the country and probably around the world bought those hand sanitizers like you see in all the hospitals, the alcohol-based soaps, where you just go ahead, you don't need any water to remove it, to wash it off, you just go ahead and pump it out and rinse your hands and wash your hands, and in the hope that hopefully any germs that you picked up won't you won't absorb it into your own bodies, and you won't pass it on to anyone else. And can you use this on Shabbat? So it's not as liquidy as regular liquid soap. So what's the halacha? It's almost a little bit like a gel. And of course, depends on which company. So what's the basic overview of the hand sanitizers and the gels on Shabbat? So the oraita, the av malacha is mochek. You go ahead, take the hide. You kill the animal, you rip off the skin, you skin it, and then you have all the hair and it's rough. No one's going to wear that kind of a coat. You smooth it out. You smooth out the surface. Get rid of all the hair, and you work and you process it to smooth out the surface. In Ma'bedas, you process the hides, and then you mochek. You do mochek, you make the surface clean and smooth. That's the av. The tolda is where you don't act on another object, but you act on the object itself, like wax. Some thick wax. You want to go ahead and mold the wax into a very usable object. You fill in a hole in a barrel, and you fill it in over there, and now you make that into a usable barrel once again. So you took that wax, a hard wax, and you shaped it. So that's mimmarech. It's the tolda of mochek, and it's the doraita as well. Then the Rabbanan came along and said, you know what? We're a little nervous if you work with shemen av, a thick oil, you may end up mixing up that with what? With the wax, and it could come to doraita. So they made a gezerah on using a thick oil, shemen av. The $1 million question is, what's shemen av? How liquidy is it? So when you pour water, is that shemen av, and therefore you're afraid of mimarech? No. So at what point? So if it's as thick as wax, then you go ahead and you start using the wax to shape something to make your teeth more comfortable, and that could be the memoreach. That's the memoreach possibly. But over here, there's a much more liquidy substance. So the liquid soaps, and then you have these sanitizers. So it's not clear where the exact shear is. Or Nissim Carlson says, because we're not sure, you should lean towards being machmir, unless something is liquidy as water, you should lean to be machmir. But others say the Kitzur Chashavos brings the exact opposite and says, wait a second. It's not clear in the poskim. In Shin Yud Dalet, at the end of Shin Yud, when it's discussed, or in Shin Chavav, we're talking about other kinds of soaps to use to wash. In both places, the shear isn't really given in the Shulchan Aruch and the poskim. So we're talking about a drabanan. We're talking about the gezerah from the rabbis, and the Mishabur's language was shemen av. So wait, it has to be some kind of a thick substance where it doesn't pour. So therefore, once it pours, then there's a good svara to say that's certainly not the doraita, and it's not even the rabbanan, it's not even a rabbinic problem. And then being the case, it's fine. So Kitzur Chashavos says safeg rabbanan lahakel. There's room to be makel. So now getting to our hand sanitizers, once it pours, then many would say it's fine. And I don't get exactly what degree it pours, because shemen av means it's almost like a substance that can actually remain in its place to a degree. So therefore, many say it's a safek rabbanan. So those who want to go ahead and, like Rav Disson Collins, to say, well, you know what, we're not sure the exact amount, we should be stringent. So that's fine, but here you have this crisis going on and you want to try to limit the spread of germs. So in my opinion, I think it would make sense to say not only could one be lenient with the hand sanitizer, if you could get alcohol base which pours like liquid, great. But if you can't, and it's a slow pour, so I would say not only could you say safek rabbanan lahakel, and it's a rabbinic doubt and there's room to be lenient, but I think not only could you be lenient in such a situation, but you should be lenient, because you're being lenient in a safek on a drabanan Hilchot Shabbos, and you're being stringent on ushmatem nafshosechem, on being careful and zealous regarding everyone's health. Rav Moshe adds on to this prohibition of using soap lather. It creates lather, and therefore maybe some kind of an issue of nola. But many poskim look at that, Rav Yashav included, like, where does that exactly fit in? It's nola, and what is it? And many reject Rav Moshe's chumrah in this case. So therefore, there is room to be lenient, and in such a crisis that we have, I think not only room to be lenient, I think it would be good to be lenient and be careful with our hygiene, at least during this acute mitzvah Shem, acute issue. Shalom.